Hi guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Quadra Single bracelet, and we'll make it completely on the hook. You'll need some bands and a C-clip to make the bracelet, and this one you're using the same pattern. It's the 6 rows for a Hexa Single bracelet, or you can make it a Penta Single bracelet. It's all the same design, and you can expand to as many rows as you want. This bracelet here, this exact one, you'll need a total of 141 bands. It fits my wrist, and it's about 7 inches long, and you're going to need, again, a total of 141 bands and 28 rows. So let's get started. For my bracelet, I'm going to start with the cap band color, which is red, and I'm going to end with red to tie my bracelet together with the C-clip. And I'll just do 2 sets of rainbows to show you, and you can use whatever color you want. The white one will be the connector band, and then for each row I'm going to use the rainbow color. So starting with red, I'm taking a single red and looping it once to create the cap band on my hook. Taking my next color, which is orange, and pulling the red loops off of my hook and onto that orange band and onto my hook. Taking my connector band, which is white, and you can use whatever color you want, I'm going to hold my single connector band, taking the first loop off of my hook, like that, so that's what yours should look like, and then putting it right back on the hook. So that's what yours should look like. You should have 3 loops on your hook, 2 orange, and the single white we just added. Taking your next color, mine is yellow, and I'm going to pull all 3 loops off of my hook and onto my single yellow band. And getting the other side of my yellow band onto my hook. So I have 2 loops on my hook. Taking my connector band, once again, this is the pattern. We're going to pull off the front loop of my yellow band and then putting it back on my hook with the white band in the center. I have 3 loops on my hook once again. Once I have the 3 loops on my hook, I'm going to my next color, which is green, and pulling all 3 loops off of my hook and onto that green band, and getting the other side onto my hook. So here's what my bracelet looks like so far. Here are my white connector bands, and you see my row for my single chain. Let's do my next one, and you can do this as long as you want. Just repeat the same pattern, taking your connector band, taking the front loop off of your hook, like that, and then putting the white band onto your hook, and then the green loop you took off. So you have 3 loops on your hook. Once you have the 3 loops, take your next color and pulling all 3 loops off of your hook and onto your next color band, which is blue for me, and getting the 2 loops onto my hook. And I'm going to continue. My connector band, once again, we want to have 3 loops. So pulling the front loop off of my hook, getting the white connector band onto my hook, and then the blue loop we took off. So now we have, once again, 3 loops on my hook. Taking my last color for my rainbow and pulling all 3 loops off of my hook onto my purple band and getting it onto my hook. So that's what yours should look like. I'm going to do it one more time. If I'm going too slow, then fast forward. If I'm going too fast, then watch it over again. It's pretty repetitive. Our next band will be our connector band. Once again, we're taking the front loop off of a hook for the purple band, getting the white connector band onto my hook, and then getting the purple loop onto my hook, or back onto our hook. So that's what yours should look like. Taking our next color, we're back to red and pulling all 3 loops off of the hook onto the single red band. Let's continue our pattern, taking our connector band, taking the front loop off of our hook, and getting the connector band and that front loop back onto a hook. I'm going extra slow so you don't miss a part. Once again, when we have 3 loops on a hook, pulling our next color band and getting the loops onto a hook. And I'm going to continue my bracelet to the length that I want. This is my last purple that I'm going to show you, pulling that single band onto my hook. And when you're ready to be done and you're at the end of your bracelet, this is what you need to do. Your last band, you won't add a connector band. And like I said, I'm going to end on red. So this is my last color. And the one that I want to connect my bracelet is the red. So I'm going to pull those 2 loops off of my hook and onto the single red band. And we're going to put it on a C-clip. And our C-clip also acts as a holding instrument to tie our bracelet together so we don't have to use a pencil or anything. So here's our bracelet so far, and if you're left-handed you can work with the connector bands to the left side, but I'm right-handed so I'm working with the connector band to the right side of my bracelet. So from our cap band end, we're going to get the 2 loops onto our hook, getting our color for our second row, which is orange, getting the loops off of our hook and onto that orange band. And before we get the other side onto our hook, we're going to get the connector band onto a hook like we did the first row and getting the loop onto a hook. So we have, once again, 3 loops on our hook. Going to our next color, same thing, pulling the 3 loops off of our hook and onto the single band, going to the next connector band, getting the loop onto our hook and grabbing the other side of the yellow band. And this is the pattern. Once again, we have 3 loops on a hook. Going to our next color, same thing. Taking our single band, pulling all 3 loops off of our hook and onto the single band. And because we already have the connector band, we don't have to add it, we just have to grab it from our bracelet. So we're grabbing the next loop, the connector band, off of our bracelet, getting it onto a hook, and then grabbing the other side of our loop, leaving us with 3 loops on a hook. And we're going to continue all the way up to the purple and then connect it to the red. Remember, for each step, remember to take all the loops off of your hook, and you should have 3 loops to go on to the next color. And then once you have your next color, grab the next connector band onto your hook and getting the other side onto your hook, leaving us with 3 loops, and go on to your next color. My last band for this row, my purple, pulling the 3 loops onto my purple band and then grabbing my C-clip and pulling 1 loop off and get it off of the C-clip. So that's what yours should look like. 1 loop is on the C-clip, 1 is on the hook, and we're going to pull the purple loops off of the hook and onto that red band. So that's what yours should look like. And we'll attach the loop we took off back onto the C-clip. So we have 2 rows on our bracelet so far, and now let's do the triple single. We're going to start on the cap band end side of our bracelet, taking our first color. Once again, getting the loops off of our hook and onto that single band and grabbing the connector band. Get it onto our hook and grab the other side of our single band onto our hook, leaving us with 3 loops. Taking our next color, getting the 3 loops off of our hook onto that next color single band. Once again, don't forget to grab your connector band onto your hook and getting the other side onto your hook, leaving you with 3 loops on your hook to start your next color, or to add to your next color. And it's just very repetitive. And the good thing about this is you can add as many rows as you want. The only restricting part is the width, because after a while the holding bands will be too tight and your bracelet will be too smushed together. But that's up to you. Can you add 6, 8 if you want rows, and it'll just be scrunched up. So this is our 3rd row, continuing on, and I'll do 5 rows with you just to show you. And you can add 6 or 7, it's up to you. It's all the same. Just remember to grab your connector band for each row. Do not go on unless you have 3 loops on your hook to add your next color or your next band. Get those 3 loops off of our hook and onto that single band, and I'm to my last band again, my last purple, and grab our C-clip. And once again, I'm grabbing the loop closest to my hook and getting it off of my C-clip. So that's what yours should look like. Pull it tightly and getting the purple loops onto that red band, and then reattaching it onto our C-clip to hold our bracelet together. Let's do the Quadra Single bracelet, adding the 4th row. Starting on the cap band end side, always start on this side, grabbing our first color, getting the loop through, and don't forget your connector band and getting the other side onto your hook. Just continue. You have 3 loops, pulling the 3 loops off of a hook onto that single band and grabbing the connector band and getting the other side onto your hook. I'm done with my 4th row for my Quadra Single bracelet, and once again I'm going to connect it on the band that's connected to my C-clip, taking the loop that's closest to my hook and getting it off of my C-clip, making sure the other side's not off of my C-clip, and getting the purple loops off of my hook and onto that single red band and reattaching it. Let's do 1 more row. Same thing, starting on the cap band side and getting our first color. Once again, it's very repetitive, making sure to always remember to grab your connector band and getting the 3 loops onto your hook and just continue on to finish your row. So I'm on my last band for my 5th row, and this is what it looks like, and it's about 1 inch wide, so if that's what you want, you can make it that wide. And once again, to connect it to our C-clip, taking that loop off of the C-clip that's nearest to our hook and pulling the purple bands off of our hook and onto that red single loop and reattaching it back onto our C-clip. I'm going to add another row so you can see how squishy it gets, because our connector band is just the width of that single white band going this way. So I'm going to quickly do it just to show you the width, and you can pause the video or fast forward or whatever you want to do. My last band for the 6th row of our bracelet, and it's pretty solid and tightly knitted. Once again, let's just add it to that red band that's connected to our C-clip and putting it back onto our C-clip. So this is our Quadra Single bracelet, our Hexa Single, and our Penta Single. You can also make it a triple single bracelet. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching.